Welcome to Lotus Student Mentor channel. In this session, we are going to study the for loop in Python, detailed explanation with example. What is a for loop in Python? A for loop in Python, especially here, we are going to execute the process, number of iterations. The iterations are known beforehand. And here the iteration is taking place over a sequence. The sequence can be a tuple or a list, or it can be a string or a range. And because of it takes place on multiple times, the code of and executes a block of code multiple times. Now suppose if we take the syntax for loop, the for loop is that for variable in sequence. The sequence is here, it can be a list, it can be a tuple, or it can be a string or a range. What is the variable? A variable is a temporary variable that makes the value of each item in sequence. The sequence, as I mentioned, list, tuple, string or range, which the loop iterates. The loop executes, termination takes place until all the elements in the sequence are traversed, in the case of the list or tuple or string. Whereas in the range, it is also traversed when the condition should be fulfilled. When the condition is completed, then termination takes place, for loop termination. Let us take the example how the for loop works systematically, step by step. The for loop, first the loop fixes the first element of the sequence and assigns it to the loop variable. Second, the block of code inside the loop executes. Third one, the loop moves to the next element in the sequence, repeat the step 2. Then it continues until all elements in the sequence are processed. Finally, once all elements are exhausted, the loop terminates. These are very, very important points how the for loop works. Let us take the example of the for loop. The first example, there are 10 examples I am going to present it, but in this video, the part 1, we are going to present only 3 examples with the practical demonstration. Now here example 1, using for loop with range. The range here, for in range 1 to 6. What is here? The range means, range in the syntax of the range is, that is the initial and the final, and next one is that here nothing is mentioned, there is increment, how much it is. Now here nothing is mentioned, the increment becomes 1. Now print iteration I. What will happen? Range 1 to 6 generates the number, that means 6 minus 1 up to that only, that means 1 to 5 it will be iterations taking place. The sixth one won't be, that 6 is excluded. Now iteration 1, iteration number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that this loop iteration takes place. The output of this program we are going to demonstrate practically here. All the programs, after completing the theoretical explanation of example 1, 2, 3, I am going to demonstrate practically. That is, what is the output? It is iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, 4 and 5. That is the output for this case, for this example. Coming to example 2, for loop, again using for loop, that is what I mentioned here. Example 1 only, for I in range 1 to 6, it will be the output iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that it will be printed. Now let us go to example 2, iterating over a list. What is iterating over list? First one is the range, example is the over a list. The list here, it is fruits equal to apple, banana, cherry. This is the list. Now for fruits in fruits, for fruit in fruits. Now print I like. Now in the place of the fruit, it will be iterated number of times. The first fruit traversing, next traverses to banana, and next traverses to cherry. The output becomes I like apple, I like banana, I like cherry. That will become the output here. That means traverse one after another. The next example here, it is iterating over a string. Now here the word equal to Python, for letter in word, print letter. What will be iterated here? Letter 1 by P, next below that Y, next iteration, next one is a T, next iteration H, next one is O, and next one is N. Each character, it will be like iteration takes place, but what we said, no, letter in word. So the output here, the character will be printed here line by line. Now you see how it will be printed, PYTHON vertically. Now let us see the example demonstration, practical demonstration of this each example here. This is the what? First example, that is example was using for loop with range. The range for in range, this is what I had considered before. Now Control S and going for running. Then the output becomes, you see, iteration 1, 2, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4 and iteration 5. Now let us see. Now suppose if you make it, as I mentioned, 6 means 6 will be excluded. Now if you make it 8 something, now 8 won't be printed, 8 will be excluded. That means range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 iteration will be taking place. Up to that iterations will be printed. That's what here. Now control S. Now what will be the output here? The output is that one iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thus we can see how the for loop is working with range. Now suppose if we give 2 value, then what is the meaning? Starting one is starting point, up to end is the 8, then increment of what? 2, 2. Then what will be iteration taking place? You can see it here. The range becomes, what will be the range? 1 increment to 1 plus 2, 3, iteration 3, 3 plus 2, 5, and 5, and iteration 5 plus 2, 7, 2, 2, 2 increments. Now let us see in the range. You can give it the range 1 to 20, 1 to 20, and you make it as 5, increment is 5. That means the starting value is 1, final value is 20, in between what is the increment? 5. That means iteration 1 will be printed, then after it goes to 1 plus 5, 6. Let us see. Now you see 1 plus 5, 6, 6 plus 5, 11, 11 plus 5, 16, 16 plus 5, 21. That won't be printed, it is crossed. The loop becomes out of that one. That's what how the iteration, the for loop with range. The next to go to next example. What is that example is? Iterating over a list. What is the iterating over a list? This is the apple, banana, cherry. Now let us go to run. Then how it is taking place? You see, I like apple, I like banana, and I like cherry. If you want to add, you can add it also cherry number of times. One more times also you can add. Cherry can be printed, or papaya something. Apple, as apple is there, banana, cherry is there. Jamun, we'll write jamun. The jamun. You can see in Python, if you are not format, syntax is not format, that it won't, it shows in different color. If it is in right format, is the uniform color it follows, all light green. Now let us go for what will happen here. I like apple, I like banana, I like cherry, and I like jamun. That will be printed here. Come on here. I like apple, banana, cherry, jamun. How you can understand that? You can understand how the loop is transformed for fruit in fruits. That means it is a traversing the iteration from apple to banana, banana to cherry, and jamun, like that, a traversing, and finally it is over. Then loop becomes out of the for loop. Okay, thus we understood the concept of iterating over a list. Now what is the third example? The third example is that iterating over a string. Suppose I have written here Python. Now let us see, let us execute how it will be. Now you see Python. Now if you want to write, I love Python programming, I like Python, I like Python programming. Okay, now you see how it will be executed. Yes, I like each and everything. You see, I like Python programming. So this is what the for loop application in the case of the string. That means iterating over a string. I hope you understood. There are three examples for loop in this part in this video explained. One is iterating over a range. Next one is iterating over a list, and third one is iterating over a string. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Lotus Student Mentor channel. In this session, for loop programs in Python, we are going to use the programs we are going to do, that is on range, sum of natural numbers, and multiplication table using for loop. Let us take the example. In the previous session, in the previous video, the part 1 in for loop video, we have studied 3 cases. The case 1 in the previous video here, that one is that over a range, and another case we have studied that over a string, a third one is that over a list, and third one is over a string. Now in these examples we are going to study, there are 3 examples in this Example 4, that is using for loop with range, start, stop and step. Take the example here, the syntax for in this, that is for I in range, this is the starting value is the 2 and stop up to 11 index, that means 11 means at the 10th iteration it will be stopped. And what is the step? Step is the increment, that means 2 to 11 increment of 2, it will be iteration taking place. Okay. Now what will be printed here? That means we are adding 2 plus 2, that is the 4, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 2 8, 8 plus 2 10, up to that it will be printed. That means we are adding step 2 means, that means even numbers will be printed. Alright, let us see demonstration. This is what 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I am going to demonstrate at the end of the explanation of example 4, example 5 and example 6. Practically in Python coding I am going to demonstrate it. Let us see example 5, finding the sum of first n natural numbers. Sum of first n natural numbers, suppose here we considered n equal to 10, 10 natural numbers. What are the 10 natural numbers are? Natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The sum of these all these natural numbers we have to calculate. If you want to find out the sum of n natural numbers, we have to use the for loop. With the help of the for loop, we can find the sum of first natural numbers. How? The step 1 is n equal to 10, number of natural numbers to 10 we have given. Sum, that is sum n equal to 0. First initially we are going to assume it as 0. Now loop begins for I in range. Range means it is the sequence we are following for variable in sequence. What is the sequence? The sequence can be tuple, the sequence can be list, the sequence can be a range. This is what range we are following. Now range begins 1 comma n plus 1. Then what is the increment? The increment becomes 1. Alright, by default it is not there. Now sum equal to sum n plus equal to I, that means sum equal to sum plus I, sum plus I. Now print sum and sum n. Okay. How to execute it? Let us see through the example. Through this solving the example we can understand here. Already I am showing the example. The output becomes, how the iteration becomes for I equal to first sum equal to 0, sum equal to sum plus I. Okay. What is that sum plus I equal to 1? 1 plus 0. Next it will be there. Now sum becomes what? 1. That will be stored here. Then I becomes what? 1 plus 1, 2. Now 1 plus I becomes 2. Sum is already 1. 1 plus I is 2. 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is a 3. 3 will be stored in sum n. Okay. In the sum. 3 plus again I becomes 1 more. 3. That means 3 plus 3, 6. Like that the loop continues up to 10 numbers. Thus the output becomes 55. I will demonstrate practically through Python coding. Now next example is that multiplication table. How to multiply here? The number of we are going to here execute the program of fifth multiplication up to range. What is the range? 1 to 11. That means 11 will be executed, up to 10 will be printed. Now 1 to 10. What is that print? Print, that is called, this is the string format, that f for floating, that means format number string form we are going to follow num multiplication I. What is the number equal to 5? I becomes 1. Next num into I. What is the num into I? Here 5 into 1, 5 will be printed. Next num is always constant, num equal to 5. I becomes I plus 1. Here 1 to 11. What is the step? If no step is given, that is a single step. 1 plus 1, 2. 5 into 2. What is the 5 into 2? 5 times 2. 5 times 2, that is 10. Next it goes. Next num equal to 5. I equal to I plus 1. That is already 2. 2 plus 1, 3. Like that up to 1 to 10. Multiplication table will become the output. This is what? 5 into 1, 5. 5 times 2. 5 2s 10. 5 3s 15. 5 4s 20. Like that. 5 times 50. Let us demonstrate. Let us go for it. I am going to explain it all this first one by one. Yes, already explained about I hope, yes, natural number, that is a range. If we want to explain the range, we will see here. Yes, range. As I mentioned already previously, we also explained. Now is the range. What is that? For I in range 2, 11, 2, print I. Here 2 we are adding no step, means even numbers will be printed. Yes, output becomes what? Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now if you want to do odd numbers, then what to do? 2 will be printed, and after the 2 onwards odd numbers will be printed. We will see 2 plus 3, 2 plus 3, 5, no, 2 plus 1, if we add, no, that is what all printed. Now initially if you give it, we want to print odd numbers, suppose 1, then you make it, then initially if it is 1, no, then odd numbers will be printed here, because 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, like that. Let us see to print odd numbers. Yes, 1 through 5, 7, 9. So whenever you want to print, this is one methodology to print either even numbers or odd numbers. You want to print odd numbers up to 99. Okay, then that is the starting. I in range, this is the starting, 99 is the ending, stop, and 2 is the step. Okay, start, triple S, range triple S means starting, stop, and stepping. All right. Now if you want to, what is the output for this? Now we are going to print all odd numbers. Now you see 1, 2, where up to here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 97. 99 is the stopping, that's why it will be excluded. All right. Now next one, if you want to go ahead, now you want to give 1000 also, you can go ahead like that, odd numbers, even numbers. Okay. The next example is that, what is the next example? The next example, the first sum of first n natural numbers. These are natural numbers, n equal to 10, sum n equal to 0. Very simple and very easy for loop. But you to understand, for loop not only for range, it also useful for over traversing the list, traversing the tuple also, traversing the dictionary also we can use, and traversing the string also. All right. This is what range we are using here, because we want sum of, whenever we are using sum of n natural numbers, some numbers more and more, and printing number of numbers, number of even number, then you have to go for range syntax. All right. Now here run the program. Now if you run the program, now what is the sum equal to? The sum equal to 55. Now you want to sum of some 20 natural numbers. Yes, it will be the sum of 20 natural numbers, n equal to 20. That now sum of 20 is the 210. Sum of 30, how many things? How much? What is the value of sum of 30 natural numbers? That is 465. That's like that. Whenever we want to add sum of some natural numbers, we have to use for loop. The third example, what is the sixth example? That is, yes, we are going for multiplication table is over. Yeah, multiplication table, that is sixth example, and also natural numbers, sum of natural numbers, and over a range we used one more thing, range starting and stopping, how to use it. Okay, I hope you understood the concept of Python programming, meaning of how to use the for loop in various examples. In this video, again summarizing 3 examples we have studied. Number 1, how to use for loop in range and or printing odd numbers or even numbers. Second one is, what is the second one is, one of the program is that sum of the natural numbers, and third one and second one and last one is the multiplication table, how to print. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Lotus Student Mentor channel. In this session, we are going to study using for loop with else and using break in a for loop in Python, detailed explanation with examples. In the previous videos, here example is begin with the 7. That means there is a continuation. It is in continuation to previous 2 videos. That means 6 examples were completed in the 2 videos of the in previous videos, such as how to use for loop for your in range, how to use for loop in string, how to use for loop for your list, traversing a list, and how to use for loop for the sum of natural numbers, how to use for loop for multiplication table. Now in this session we are going to study for loop with else and for loop with a break. Now let us see very simple example. Here it is. We are going to demonstrate it practically after studying in detail theoretically. Let us see using for loop with else. In previous videos or previous cases there is no else. Suppose else is there. Generally else we have studied like if else, like that. Now here for else, for I in range 1 to 6, 1 comma 6, that is the starting is 1 and stopping is 6, and the stepping here it is, what is the step value is the 1, print I, else print loop completed. Suppose it will be printed up to 1 to 5, 6 will be excluded, after that loop completed will be printed, after that else, that means if it is not true, else here that will be, else block will be executed, the statement in the else block will be executed. Now for here it is iteration takes place. Now what is that? Let us see. The output is that 1 2 3 4 5, then sixth one it won't be, that means else will be executed. What is that? Loop completed. Alright, loop completed. The next example 8, coming to using a break in a for loop. Now for I in range 1 to 6, that is starting is 1, stopping is 6, and increment stepping is 1 value. If I equal to 3 assigned, then print stopping loop at I, break print I. What will happen here, you know, if I will be included I equal to 1, okay, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, when I equal to 3 comes breaking, that break stops the loop, it won't be executed anything, break stops the loop. What will be the output? Let us see. Now I equal to 1 2 will be printed, when it becomes 3, stopping the loop at 3, that's what we are going to stopping the loop at, where at I, stopping the loop at I equal to 3. Let us demonstrate, let us see practical demonstration. Now this is what example for, I am going to increase the font size so that you will understand better. Alright, yes. Now here for using for loop with else, for I in range 1 to 6 print I, else. Now suppose I gave here by default 2, 1 to 6 2, then print I, yes, else will, what will be printed here? 1, 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 2 5. Let us see the value here, 1 3 5, loop completed. If you give increment, as in range you understood better, no, but else, the main thing is focusing on else, how the loop completed. Loop does not loop completed, you can write anything statement, that means else, when it is satisfied, when it is coming out, that else. Here also when the condition is false, then else block will be activated, all right. The second one, what is the next example? 8th example we have studied. What is that 8th example? Break, using a break in a for loop. What is that using break? I used here I equal to 3. Yes, let us execute. As I mentioned here, what will be the output? 1 2 stopping loop at 3. Suppose you want to stop the loop at 5, you see. Okay, let us see what will happen. Yes, 1 2 3 4, stopping loop at 5. You can do all practical steps. I in range 1 to 6. Okay, you can do somewhat, I said that 2, or it may be good 1 to 20, increment of 2. That is means what will happen here, I gave up to 20, breaking at yes 19 I'll give. We'll see what will happen. Okay, now you see 1 3 5 7 9 11 13 15 17, stopping at 19, it won't be because we already gave condition break. How stopping at I taking place? We are breaking if I, this break is related to the if block, this for I in range, under that you can also call it as using break and if in a for loop, that is also there, all right. Thus we can use the for loop for, you know, we can use the break in a for loop and else in a for loop. I hope you understood the concept of how the for loop can be used. In the for loop, else and break can be used. All right. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Lotus Student Mentor channel. In this session, we are going to study nested for loop through star pattern printing in Python. We are going to explain the program in step by step in detail. It is tailor-madely designed for this video. You can understand all types of star patterns through this video. Here I have taken the example. The example is that we are going to print stars 5, rows equal to 5. What you are going to print, you understand? Yes, this is what star pattern we want output. Okay, how to be, how it comes, rows. Okay, there is, it indicates the row, at the same time stars should be printed 1 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. All right, that is the output for our. Now there are two things. One is rows. Am I right? Rows are 5. That means how many it will be printed? Yes, we'll see. Now rows for indicating, there are two loops. One is for rows identification, another loop for printing the stars in that row. That means two loops are required. That's what nested loop. Now for I in range 1 comma rows plus 1, this is known as the outer loop. This is inner loop for j in range 1 comma I plus 1 colon print star end space gap, print whatever it may be, whatever going to be star will be printed. Now the point is that one is outer loop for mentioning the rows, another is inner loop to be printed, stars to be printed. There are how many iteration by iterations we are going to study here. Let us see. We first set the rows 5, which means the pattern will have 5 rows, 1 2 first row, second row, third row. For outer loop, for I in range 1 comma rows plus 1, that means controls the outer loop, controls the number of rows. And coming to inner loop controls how many stars are to be printed in each row. That is what inner loop. All right, and print star end space, that means print the star on the same line with end. We gave the space, no, that space will be printed at the end of the star. Very simple. The next print moves to the next line. This print explains next line after each row is printed. We are going to demonstrate, I am going to demonstrate it. If we remove this print, what will happen? If we remove this end space, what will happen? Very systematically and practically, so that we can understand the nested for loop very easily. Let us see. Now what is the first iteration? First iteration I equal to 1. The outer loop starts with I equal to 1. The inner loop j equal to 1. And here I equal to I plus 1. Then I plus 1 means here 1 to 2. The 2 means 2 will be excluded. What will be printed? 1. Okay. That means 1 star will be printed in the first iteration. Let us see. 1 star will be printed. Printing moves to the next line. This print is there, no, that goes to the next line. That means we are in second line. In the second iteration, what will happen? I becomes 2. The loop starts with I equal to 2. That means number 2 rows number 2. Then j becomes j equal to 1 2. J is less than I becomes here 2. That means I equal to I plus 1, no. I equal to I plus means 2 plus 1 3. 1 to 3 means what is that? 3 will be excluded. That means star 1 and star 2. 2 stars will be printed in iteration 2. Let us see. That is what iteration 2. What is that printing here? Why it goes to the next line? This print moves to the next line. All right. The second line it goes. Then coming like that, iteration 3, third iteration, similarly third iteration it goes. Always remember, outer loop controls the rows, inner loop controls the number of stars to be printed. Here we mentioned I equal to j equal to I plus 1, 1 to I plus 1. If you give I plus 2, then number of stars will be increased. All right. Like that, the fourth iteration goes on. The fifth iteration, now what 5 stars will be printed? How many rows are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thus it will be. Let us see the practical demonstration of this program. All right. You can understand better. Yes. Now, this is the nested for loop pattern. Just now pasted it as it is. So I typed it already without wasting the time. Now rows equal to 5. If you execute it, how it will be? Run. You can type it, press directly F5 also. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First row 1 star, second row 2 stars, third row 3 stars, fourth row 4 stars, fifth row 5 stars. All right. The point is that if you understand this program thoroughly, you can draw any type of pattern just by changing the logic. That's it. how the space will be here, end space. If you give starting space, all the spaces, start space and all, then gaps will come. Suppose, as I mentioned, why it is so important, this end space. I removed end space, what will happen? Okay, now what will happen? Control S, F5 run. Then you see the spaces. Okay, it goes on vertically printing 1 2 3 4 5. If you give up end space, you see first star, there is no rows. Okay, space should be there, no? Now just end space. This end space important is, you see how it will be. Maintain the line by line spaces. Now you run. Yes, how it will be printed. End space is so important to be printed like that. If you want to be vertically printing, you have to remove it. Suppose I want to change, suppose print, I make it this one as a comment, nothing, we are working, we are not. I remove this, how it will be printed, you see. Okay, now yes, all are horizontally printed. How many stars are there? It is 1 2 3 4. You see the number of stars here, 1 plus 2 3 plus 3 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 5 15, 3 plus 2 5. Yes, these 15 stars are printed horizontally. What we need? We need this form. In this form means you have to go for next line. That's why this print is important. Okay, you see this print is there, no? This statement is important to form the new line. If it is not there, it will be horizontally printed. Now if you see, we make it, how it is printed, 1 2 3 4. You understand? Now you can do all experiments how it will be printed, that is up to you. We can do I equal to I plus 3. We can make it so that rows are 10 rows are there. You can see all the stars. Then what will be printed? Just to assume it, to understand. 1 star, then I equal to I plus 3 means each first starting will be first row will be, what is the single star? Okay, how many stars will be there? First row. I plus 3 means 4. 1 to 4 means 3 stars will be printed in the starting row. That's what we understood here. Let us see how it is. First starting 3 stars, then increase it 3 plus 1 4 plus, yes, see this is what, up to how many rows? We have given 10 rows. So you can do so many things. If you give rows are 10 20, then you can see number of stars will be, rows are 20, it will be more and more. You can do all the things. The pattern can be triangular pattern, stat pattern, all the things. But all patterns, star patterns, output program is based on this program. If you understand thoroughly, nested for loop, pattern, star pattern printing, just by changing the conditions for I in range, given the spaces here, rows, whatever you want, then we can execute. There are 15 types of programs are there on star pattern types, but all the patterns you can understand by understanding only this program. Okay, I hope you understood nested for loop pattern systematically. Thoroughly watch, step by step was mentioned here. Okay, no video was mentioned previously like this, because I made it iteration step by step, how it will be useful for the for the benefit of the students. If you understand this video thoroughly, if you watch, then you can understand all types of star patterns very easily. Okay, thank you for watching.